What's up, everybody? This is DeWitt Scott back again with another edition of the Daily Reading Room, where I give you a book review for every day of the 2022-23 academic school year. And this book review is about a book entitled The Ugly Side of Beautiful by Bryonn Bain. The Ugly Side of Beautiful by Bryonn Bain. It's a book that was published in 2013, and it gives sort of a analysis of the criminal justice system from the perspective of a young black man who was racially profiled on one occasion and then wrongfully incarcerated on a second occasion. And the book opens up first and foremost with a first-hand account of a night where he and his brothers were racially profiled and wrongly arrested for something that they did not do, but what police officers who were driving down the street who said that these men fit a particular description, they believed that Bryonn Bain and his brothers did actually commit the crime, so they pulled them over and got these men walking off the street, and they arrested them and began questioning them about a crime they didn't commit. So Bryonn talks about that because all along while this is happening, Bryonn at the time was a Harvard Law School student. He had graduated from Columbia, so he's an Ivy League graduate, and he was in Harvard Law School at the time. And he sort of talks about that dynamic of learning the law and understanding the law, but then realizing how it is applied differently to black people and black men. He talks about being wrongfully arrested after that when he was a victim of identity theft, where there were a number of individuals who had stolen his identity and committed crimes in his name, and how it took days. He spent days in jail before everything was actually cleared up. And much of it was a very grueling process, obviously, but he says that the public defenders that were assigned to him, they were, the first one, she was not very helpful. The second one was a little bit more helpful, and it wasn't until the assistant DA announced to the judge that I went to law school with this man across on the other side of the courtroom, that things started to sort of open up and they could see some differences. So he's looking at this real deep dive into how the criminal justice system really is broken, really is racially biased, and how black men tend to deal with that. And obviously he has a view that is very unhappy of the criminal justice system, like many African-American men who find themselves on the wrong side, whether justifiably or unjustifiably. But the book itself is just very telling and very well written. He interviews political prisoners who have been incarcerated for what they believe are trumped up charges simply because of their political views or their personal politics. And he also interviews activists who are actively working to sort of make the criminal justice system a little bit more fair, or much more fair, and certainly something that's a bit more in line with what is supposed to be justice. So it's a really good book. It's not a long book. The interviews really help. It's written in a way that you can sort of conversational in certain chapters. But I really recommend it. It's a fantastic book. Again, Bryonn Bain is a Harvard Law School graduate, trained lawyer, who just has a really unique perspective because he is, again, on that lawyer side, but also as a black man who has been wrongfully incarcerated and accused of crimes. So check it out, The Ugly Side of Beautiful by Bryonn Bain.